What is going on, guys? Isaiah here, back with another Black Deck profile, and this time we're going to give you Towa. Unfortunately, we had to change this deck last minute because Bondi dropped a bomb of a Banlist on us, and they got rid of our, friendly, handy-dandy turtles. So, essentially how that affects this deck is we originally were not playing time regulators because he really kind of conflicts with the new Mira that plays himself if you don't have any battle cards on board. And, Turtles essentially was a free way to recycle the 7-drop Miras if we were to mill them at any point in the early game. But since we no longer have Turtles, we have to rely back on Time Regulator, which is kind of unfortunate. But, Time Regulator is still decent. He's just not as good as what he used to be. So let's hop into the deck. First off, we have Towa. Front side is activate main once per turn. You can burst 3 and then look at the top 5 of your deck, and you can add a Mira or a Fu. So for this deck specifically, we have, I think, about 15 targets that we're going to want to search. So we have 3 of this guy, 3, 10, 15, 19 targets. So that's a really good number of targets that you want to hit. You want to make sure that you don't whiff as much as possible, because on the backside you do not draw. Your awaken skill is untap 1, draw 1, but you can only do this if you have 10 or more black cards in your warp. So you got to play some number of overwhelm in the deck. So we got the Banisher Foos, we got our 3-drop, which is really going to be the main way that we overwhelm in the deck. Then we have dark absorption and stuff like that. So on our awaken side, like I said, she does not draw, but activate main once per turn. You can dump 3 black battle cards from your warp to the drop area to give one of your mirrors critical. So that's really, really good. You can give this 3-drop. You can give your 3-drops critical, your 5-drop with double strike crit, or your 7-drop critical when you union absorb, so he'll be double strike crit. So it's a really good skill. And then the activate battle is once per turn, you tap 1 energy, you discard a card from your hand, and then you essentially choose a skill on one of your opponent's battle cards, and you can negate that skill. So that's really, really good. It comes up when, of course, your opponent's trying to go all in on a battle card. Unfortunately, this may not be as good. This skill may not be as good going into set 10 because people are going to be trying to finish games with unisons because there's a limited amount of cards that might be able to interact with them, unless they print a side set or something like that for black, where it's like an extra card or a battle card that can get rid of a marker or something like that. So that's something to keep in mind if you choose to play this leader. So onto the main deck, we play 3 Koitsekais. The reason why we play Koitsekai in the deck is it gives us a really good out to a lot of cards in the format. So there's a lot of free counterplays, and there's a lot of really good 1-drop or 2-drop counterplays in a format, or in the upcoming format, that play themselves for free. So to be able to play around those types of cards, you need to run stuff like Koitsekai, especially against green, because they have the free counterplay Frieza, and essentially that counterplay Frieza can KO our 5-drop. So that's something you got to look out for. But essentially, you tap 1 energy during activate main. You remove this card from the game, so this card does not go to your warp. And you take 1 or 2 cards in your hand, put them on the bottom of your deck, and you draw the same number that you put back. So it's really good. And then for the rest of the turn, if your opponent will play a battle card with a battle power of 20,000 or less, they have to warp 2 cards out of their hand. So essentially, it kind of works as a mirror chain if they want to try to counter any of your battle cards, or if they want to try to do a negate to not take damage, they have to warp additional cards. So against stuff like the Frieza, if you go like your free 3-drop, free 2-drop into your 5-drop that Union absorbs, and they want to counterplay the Frieza, they have to get rid of the Frieza from hand, so they neg 1, and then they have to also warp 2 cards from their hand. So essentially it's like you did a mirror chain already, and you just did kind of like a mirror chain for 2 energy instead, though, or for two cards instead, and they got a battle card on board. But card's really good. I'm really finding this card to be like a staple in black decks for the upcoming format. Next up is Not Even a Scratch. It's a negate. If it's in your drop, you tap one, warp it to draw a card. If you get two of these, it's basically like playing Saiyan Instincts, and you can keep recycling it with your leader. So the card's really good. 3 power bursts. We run a decent amount of targets to get back. We run the Courts of Kais, the new Towa, and the Supreme Kai. So it's really good. You gotta have a Sparking Negate, in my opinion. Next up, we play the Supreme Kai of Time Disruptor. One of the reasons why we decided to play this card in the deck is because with Unisons being a thing now, a lot of people are running 1-drop double strikers again. So we need a card that we can just counterplay, play on our opponent's turn, and just shut those cards off for at least a turn. And then potentially, if they swing with the leader, we can combo it, and then we can play maybe a Time Ruler Towa to steal their double striker to kind of mitigate that, aggression that's going to be coming at us. So this card really, I think, might find its way back into the Towa decks. So I would really think about, if you guys want to play Towa or any, mid-range to control strategy, potentially picking these cards up. Next up, Towa Twisted Sister. She's a new counterplay. She's a Towa, so she, of course, works with the theme of the Yin Absorb. She's a counterplay. When this card is played, you draw 1, so she replaces herself. And then you shuffle 1 card from your opponent's drop area back to the deck. So you're hitting Apes, Rebrands, potential Koitsukais, any U3s if people still decide to play U3 cards. Just anything graveyard related. And she also shuffles cards back, which is something that we've really needed. Something that just does cards in general. So if you randomly go up against a Shinron leader and they try to play a card to use their ultimate or something like that, you can send one of the Dragon Balls back to the deck. So this way they can't do their ultimate. So that's something, it may not come up ever again, but that's something to note in general. Next up, we play 3 of the Mira Faithful Servant. This is a new 2-drop. If you don't have any battle cards, you can play it for free. And then you tap 3 to basically play a Mira with the energy cost of 5 on top of them. We were playing this card at 4 when we were playing Turtles. But unfortunately, because we have to play Time Regulator, this card kind of conflicts with Time Regulator because you need to have no battle cards on board to do this skill. So if you're going to play this and you want to do a turn 3 Mira Chain, you have to play this first and then tap your 2 energy for the Regulator. And it's kind of awkward sometimes. So that's just something to keep in mind. But we have to play Regulator to be able to recycle our 7 drops. But the card is still good. We play 2 individual targets for that. Next up, we got to play this super combo. Bibbidi arguably is the best black super combo, but because of aggro, you need to have something that you can use earlier off in the game. And like Bibbidi is going to get you higher numbers, but but this Supreme Kai is going to keep your advantage at a stable state. So that's just something that you got to think of. And really with the Bibbidi, if you're going against aggro, your drop area is not going to be that full that early in the game within the first 2 turns. So he's really not even going to be hitting like 10k combo power. So this card is just arguably better. Next up, 4 regulators. There's really no reason to explain this. This would have been Turtles, but Turtles is unfortunately banned. We just got to play it. It's a necessary evil. So yeah. Next up, we still play Dark Absorption Mira. We need an Overrealm to potentially, have to Force Awaken our leader sometimes. But this card is good because if Time Regulator gets countered or gets stopped or gets killed and we haven't been able to shuffle any of our 7 drops back, we do need a way to still go into a Mira Chain for 4 energy. And he's free initially, so you can still bait out other counterplays with his Overrealm, so he still serves a purpose in the deck, and I still like him at 3. 3 of the Mira where you just Overrealm and discard a card from your opponent's hand, still good. It's probably the best target in the deck, maybe the second best target. Next up, we have 4 Time Ruler Towas. This card serves a purpose. It's pretty much just stealing 2 or less from our opponent's board. We We don't play the other 4-drop because the only real target for the other 4-drop would have been like turtles. That's really the only reason I can see playing it. And most 3 or more cards, or 3 or less cards, like, or just 3-drops in general, they're starting to have barrier if people are playing them. So there's really no reason of playing the 4-drop that steals 3 or less. This one just works just fine. Next up, we have Banisher Fu. We still play 3 of these because we need, just in general, good spot removal. And it's Overwhelm, so it could potentially help us awaken. This 5-drop Mira, we play 2 of them. You could potentially play 3, but we needed another target for our 2-drop, especially against counterplay format, going against green. So you can, potentially do like a Koitsukai on turn 4, tap 1 energy, play this guy for free, and then when we tap our 3, if they counterplay on his activate main before you reveal your target, you can go into this. So now they have to play the Frieza from hand, so they lose 1. They have to warp 2 for playing the Frieza, and then they have to warp 2 more and not be able to KO anything because he has barrier. So essentially they lost 5 cards from their hand to attempt to stop something that they thought they could kill. So this card's, relatively decent to play now. This 5-drop Mira, it's the best 5-drop to play. You can play him for 4 if you got 10 or more on your warp. Then you can Union Fusion or Union Absorb for free using the Towa. So the card's good, but you need to have the 7-drop in deck. And the last card in the deck is a 7-drop. It's just good, But overall, I really like the way the deck kind of came out. If they wouldn't have banned Turtles, this deck would have been 50 or 60 cards. And the whole build would have been changed drastically. But it is what it is. I think the deck is still good going into next set, but it definitely took a major hit by losing Turtles. But it got some, like I said, some really good brand new tools like the 1-drop Towa and the 2-drop Mira, and also this 5-drop. So definitely take a shot at playing this. If you got any questions, any complaints, leave them down in the comments. Leave a like if you liked it. Leave a dislike if you disliked it. But of course, explain. Don't forget to subscribe. And also check out the Tcg Player Link. Potentially pick up these Supreme Kais if you think they might go up in price, if you think they might be used, you want to make some pre-orders, do whatever you want. But that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully you liked the deck. Peace.